Good morning. My name is Carolyn Gorst, and I am so happy to welcome you to another Compass Affordable Housing podcast. I'm the Director of Development for Compass Affordable Housing, and today we are here again with my lovely co-host, and it keeps me on track all the time, Lydia Aranda. Hi, Lydia.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, Carolyn. This will be another great episode.
I'm really excited to have today's guest, our former business neighbor, Palo Santo, and their executive director, Lorraine Myro, with Palo Santo Psychotherapy and Wellness. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi, good morning.
We're so glad to have you on the show today. Before we get much deeper, I want to thank our major sponsor, Tucson Electric Power, bringing us this first segment and today's podcast. So, Lorraine, one of the things that the purpose of the Compass Ecosystem podcast is to inform and engage and connect the Southern Arizona community in a dialogue about human development in our ecosystem. And one of the things we've been really excited about is being able to partner with Palo Santo's Psychotherapy and Wellness. Could you describe for our audience some of the services that you provide? Who is your target audience? Who do you work with? Some of the outcomes that you guys are responsible for seeing happen in the human development ecosystem here in Tucson.
Yeah, sure. And bear with me, sometimes I'm going to be looking down and reading. But yeah, so Palo Santo started in 2015. My business partner, Dr. Michelle Ellis, she and a few of her colleagues from Marana Health Center, Jack, Tucker, Julie, they had moved out of Marana Healthcare and then decided to create Palo Santo Psychotherapy and Wellness. When they did it, the mission was really to treat the whole person, the mind, body, and spirit. And so they quickly established a presence in Tucson and met people and collaborated. And then they started an internship program where they brought in therapy interns and through that were able to offer low-cost therapy to members of the Tucson community. So fast forward to here and now. Michelle is stepping into retirement, and I am now the executive director. And so, what we've just been doing ever since the inception of Palo Santo is there's two branches to it. One is private practitioners, and that's where we have clinicians who specialize in treating all kinds of issues. And they specialize in different forms of therapy, such as IFS, EMDR, grief, trauma, counseling, all that type of stuff. Then we have some people who really specialize in treating the body and the spirit. So we have some massage therapists, craniosacral therapists, equine experiential experts. We have an artist on staff. I'm sorry, not on staff, but they're collaborators with us. An artist, a nutritionist, and I think, Reiki masters. So they're all part of everyone on this branch. We all have our private practice. And then in the other branch is the community clinic. And that's where we teach intern therapists how to be great therapists. And that's where we're able to offer the talk therapy to members of the community. And so the rates are really low. And that's what we do for that. The, let's see, the issues that we really work with are treating those who are struggling with mental health challenges. And it's a range of issues. It could be depression and anxiety. It could be relationship issues. It could be life transitions, grief. We have a lot of clients coming in who experience the symptoms of ADD and or autism and are trying to figure out, how do I navigate this? We have some people who come in and they tell us that, listen, I'm just trying to understand myself better. There's a history of trauma and mental health in my family, and I'm exploring and I want to know what's making me do what and how do I heal that. Our outcomes, so I'm not going to be able to give you some exact data at this moment as far as how many goals and objectives are met. But what I can tell you with the numbers of the people, we have a significant amount meet their goals. They're discharged because they achieved them. So there's that component. Some of them do return because they're working on new issues and they feel like they trust Palo Santo and they know what to expect and that it's a safe place and where they can get good therapy. The other outcome I really want to identify is just that of Palo Santo itself. Palo Santo has weathered a lot. So, like I said, Dr. Ellis, she established this in 2015. And since then, we've gone through a couple different relocations that were really impacted by shifts in the economy, which I know you all feel, your clients feel it, or your customers feel it. Um, and so we've been able to survive through that. And then we survived through the pandemic. And that was a time where people, as I was saying, a lot of our practitioners are hands-on and they couldn't do their work anymore. Universities were pulling their students back. So there was one point in time where it was just Michelle in that building. And then that's when I joined her. So we kept it alive and over the past few years, a lot of people have joined us again who really treat the whole mind, body, and spirit. And so I'm really excited and proud of Palo Santo for their outcome in that as well.
That is so exciting. I have to personally brag a little bit on Palo Santo because you have been a strong partner in community for our Compass Affordable Housing team. Being in the human service world, sometimes self-care is not always a priority for people that are in human and social services. And the workshops that your team has and that you and your team have put together, that our team has taken a part in, have
Mhm.
just made such a difference in helping with that self-care piece. And so, shout out to you guys for being there for those of the people that are in need of a little self-care and a little extra boost to keep
Mhm.
going. Uh,
Mhm. Yeah. It's
Lydia,
one.
is there any thoughts that came to your head before we go to break?
Sure. Actually, as I was listening to you, Lorraine, I think you did a great job of explaining kind of the history and some of the not only the peaks and successes, but in transitions, but really some of those valleys that you had to traverse,
Mhm.
as have so many community organizations and individuals. And with the services that you provide, sounds like there is a full spectrum of opportunity for
Mhm.
people to heal individually and maybe even as teams, whether that's family teams or work group teams,
Absolutely.
professionals in certain
Mhm.
industry or solutions building, like Carolyn was talking about the fact that you are such a great community partner. I'm excited to learn more.
We're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsor, Tucson Electric Power.
It's important that Tucson Electric Power partner with agencies like Compass Affordable Housing to ensure the members of our community have access to the resources that they need. We understand that we're operating in an affordability crisis, and this is not something that can be solved alone. Together, we can achieve so much more.
This segment is brought to us by the support of Pima County Short-Term Crisis Emergency Resources Grant. Lorraine, thank you so much for walking us through some of the high level, very inclusive descriptions of all the different type of services and attentions that are offered by Palo Santo. And I wonder, as you described the services available and the programs that really touch, quite frankly, individuals in their self-care and other care, how do you see, in your words, how Palo Santo holistically is addressing certain issues? And I wonder what specific issues come to your mind as top attentions that Palo Santo is addressing.
Yeah, all right. So there's two that I think are really at the top of our ladder. The first is mental health, period. So I'll talk about that in a sec. And then the other is solving the problem of getting through the barriers of access to care. So I'll come back to that. But first, when we talk about mental health, first and foremost, in this avenue, I'm going to really be focusing on the community clinic.
Okay.
Um, we work hard to train our therapy interns to be holistic, really self-aware of what they're doing, and to be able to work with individuals, meet the individual where they're at, and create an environment that feels really safe to them, and provide interventions that are tailored to their specific issues and their specific need. And so the way we do that is we have a team of supervisors here, and that interns rotate. So they get to work with social workers. I'm a social worker, clinical social worker. So they get to see things from my perspective. They get to work with my colleague, Steve Roslick. He's an LPC, so they get to see things from his perspective. Dr. Ellis, she's a behaviorist, and so they get to see things from her perspective. And it's great because a lot of times we're pulling in different theories and applications. So then they're able to go into the therapy room, figure out what the client needs, and meet them there, and then provide interventions that we think are really going to be best suited for that particular issue or issues. A lot of the issues that we see coming in, there's a lot of anxiety out there. A lot of people are also struggling in their relationships. And so we teach about boundaries. We teach about attachment strategies. We develop interventions on how to navigate through that. So there's actually like a really wide range of issues that they're dealing with, but those are just a few that come to mind. The other component is when they're working with clients, we're always encouraging the intern therapist to think about the client as a holistic person, like including their body and their spirit. And so sometimes they're talking about the role that food plays in their mental wellness, the role that physical movement plays. And then they'll consider at times, hey, client, do you want to go do work with an equine assisted therapist? Do you want to learn about heart math or biofeedback so you can better enhance your skill at self-regulation? Do you want to do some Reiki or massage therapy to help release some energy and whatnot? So again, we always emphasize taking it a step further so that we can be really comprehensive, so that we really get to the root of things and teach people how to navigate when the next storm comes through. Um, the other the other issue that we really work to solve is that getting through the barrier of access to care. And again, we do that with the community clinic. Our rates are really accessible. We initially started at $25 a session. They were either $25, $30, or $35 a session. And it's great because we don't have clients fill out a financial assessment. We don't ask them, hey, do you meet specific criteria? They don't have to jump through any hoops to access this. We just say, call us and schedule, and what rate is most comfortable. And then we offer them the rate. Right now, we've only raised the rates once
in all that time.
In all that time, which is kind of and this speaks to the mission of Palo Santo and really the impact that Michelle has had, Dr. Ellis. And then what we really want to teach people is our rental rates have increased, but we've only, 3 or 4, actually, I'm sorry, they increase every year with the sales tax, right? But we've only raised our rates in the community clinic once. So now, and that's okay. We're not making a profit at all. We are here to serve the community. And so anyway, at this point in time, the rates are $30, $40, or $48 a session. And we'll just say to the client, hey, which rate is most comfortable for you? And sometimes they'll start at one rate and then they lose their job or something happens. And then so they have to go even lower, say they're at 40 and then they go down to 30. That's fine too. We've had the fortune over the past few years to get support from 2 different grants. One is through Long Realty. They have the Long Cares Foundation grant. And then the Shaheed donation from Camellia Shaheed. She's over at the University of Arizona as a professor. And so with those monies, we're able to offer like scholarships to clients. And so the way it works is we will cover, they apply for. They just tell us like, hey, what's going on? Like 4 or 5 sentences and how can you benefit from this? And then we ask that, okay, you pay one session and then we'll pay the next session. You pay one session, we'll pay the next session up to like 4 sessions. And then if they need to renew it, we'll renew it. So again, we're just really cutting through the red tape of trying to access. When people call us, we call back within 24 hours. We get emails, we respond within 24 hours. And all this is quite different than when you're calling those offices out there for established places that also take
More
insurance.
traditional offices. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, you might get, you're going to get the voicemail, but then you might not get a call back for a couple of days, or you might have to check this or that, or fill out some more paperwork, or just go through this whole song and dance just to get into therapy. But when at Palo Santo in our clinic, you call us, tell me when you can come in, and we get you in. So it's pretty, I mean, that's how we really work to solve that issue. And then with the support of the mental health, we're supporting clients such as yours to get out there and do what they need to do to get their lives back on track, or to achieve goals that are really important to living in a way that's authentic and true to them.
I really like how you describe that because as a unique clinic, and you really put the community and the clinic in community clinic, like you're seeing it from both angles, what needs to happen for good care, but
Mhm.
also how can it be maneuvered or, as you said, customized or tailored to meet the patient, to meet the participant where they are,
Mhm.
and break down not only the barriers to access, but really enhance the feeling of it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be vulnerable. And that's the whole point
Yeah.
is to receive that partnership as a participant and provider. They have to work together. So
Yeah.
it doesn't happen just one way.
And Lydia, just hearing you say that, it reminds me like, the calls come in, it ebbs and flows. So sometimes we're really busy, sometimes it's a little quieter, and then it picks up again. What I've noticed recently, there's trends like where we'll get a lot of adolescent or parents calling for adolescents, or a lot of people in relationships or going through a divorce or whatnot. I've had a lot of men calling recently who have gone through a separation and or are just trying to understand themselves in relation to their family unit. So it's really exciting because it's it's newer. Historically we've had more of a
Sure.
mix, maybe more females, but now we're getting a lot of males and non-binary clients. So.
That really makes me smile and feel good about community.
Mhm.
Carolyn, I'm sure you have other questions as well.
What you just spoke on, Lorraine, is so important. And I'd like for you just to go a little deeper because, as you know, one of the things at Compass that's really important to us is the idea that the people need to help people, that
Mhm.
we are all human beings, we are all on a developmental journey together. And sometimes as people, we fall off of the pathway of
Yeah, sure.
growth for our journey.
Mhm.
And I think it's become more common and easier for people. I hope easier is the right word. People are willing to talk about mental well-being and mental health more today than they were even just 10, 20 years ago.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I'd like for you to share with our viewers, the actual, some of that deeper human development impact that mental wellness and what you're doing at Palo Santo, that difference that it makes in creating the whole person.
Yeah, yeah, okay, absolutely. So what came to mind as you were asking that question is the ripple effect, right? There's a lot
Yeah.
of intergenerational trauma out there, and especially when one is economically disadvantaged. Like the the cards are stacked against, actually it's stacked against most people in trying to be well. And there's so much research and evidence out there that links our socioeconomic status to our physical health and outcomes and our mental and emotional health and outcomes. So I get really heartened when I see all kinds of people calling in, um, who are the first in their family to be making that call, and sometimes they'll end up also feeling like the black sheep because you have a family or a group of friends, or you're in a partnership where counseling or therapy is just not what you do in your family or in your culture or in your work environment. It's historically was frowned upon, or it's for people who are weak. But as you're saying, nowadays, I think there's a lot more understanding of the need and what it can do for you and how to access it, that I think people are, I don't think, I know they're starting to do that, which is why we're getting the calls from individuals in very marginalized communities and subgroups, and including Hispanic men. Like I'm seeing a trend in that, and I hadn't seen that before. So that's really powerful and speaks a lot. And then I think a lot of individuals also from the queer community are reaching out, and that's so important. And this is where I want to give a lot of kudos to our therapy interns. We're here and we're working and we do our continuing education units and we go to meetings and network and talk to people and we read articles and try to really be educated and informed and up to date. And then we have these young people come in and they're so eager and interested and curious and committed. And they're a step ahead of us sometimes as far as like what's the read on the pulse? Like really what's starting to happen out there? And they bring that in here. And because of them, we're richer and deeper as a team. So yeah, I hope that kind of speaks kind of going to that. But, and then I think just to tie it up is when we're able to work with those people who are first generation users of this service, they're breaking the cycle of trauma and addiction and depression, and that's going to be better for them and their children. If they have children, it's going to be better for them and their relationships. And we have a lot of people come in because their friend told them about therapy. So it's just this really positive ripple effect across
I
the
love
board.
that. And the fact that you're built on the basis of being affordable to I'm going to use the phrase everyman,
Yeah.
because for so long, I think there was a belief that mental well-being was not accessible
Mhm.
to anyone who wasn't in the upper socioeconomic standings.
Right, right, right. And, Carolyn, I think it used to be a luxury.
Exactly.
Right? Because first you need,
Exactly.
and this is where you all are doing, you're trying to get like, hey, let's get some shelter in place. Like the last thing you're going to worry about is your feelings when you're like, I don't even have a place to live. I don't have any food. So you have to do that. And that's where you all come in. And then as they get a little bit more grounded, then they can do this. But I do think that maybe it doesn't have to be a luxury for people who are just who have the time or who have the money. Let's make it something that everybody has a right to and everybody needs.
I
I
love
am going
when
to
you
just
say
say
that.
that's perfect. We're going to go to our next commercial break because that ties in perfectly to our ending segment. We're going to hear from our sponsor at Tucson Osteopathic Medical Foundation, and then we will be right back.
Annually, we give to local organizations who are running programs and making great strides in what we call the social determinants of health. It's incredible the work that they're doing, and we're just really proud to be a part of it.
And we're back, and we'd like to thank again our major sponsor, Tucson Osteopathic Medical Foundation. Lorraine, you were speaking a lot about, you and Carolyn, about where the community and clinic come together, where the human and the human, both in the provider and the participant, really meet each other on that very human level. And as we think about how Southern Arizona residents who need your services or may want to be prepared ahead of time for when they might need the services, how do you best recommend that folks participate? Reaching out ahead of time, finding you on a web, maybe there are community activities that you offer that might get folks a little more comfortable?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple different ways people can do that. One is the most basic. We have a web page, so they can go on there. They can email us or call us. We also have a Facebook page, and we're going to start an Instagram account too, and throw on some old school therapy knowledge for everyone. Um, but yeah, so they could just schedule through us. They on our website, we also have the names and contact information of the private practitioners who do the holistic type of therapy and counseling.
I noticed that. I had scrolled through there, and if I can jump in, I so hate to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful that you show pictures, you show names a little, and not just a professional bio, but kind of a personal approach with some of
Mhm.
the quotes that some of them highlight. And I think that helps maybe make folks identify with them a little bit more.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that actually is the intention is to give a personal flavor so that you can find, hey, does this person resonate with me or not? A couple other ways that people can be involved or access care is with organizations. So, as Carolyn had talked about, sometimes we've done presentations and workshops. We can do groups here on site, or we can go to a group. So that's one avenue. I've had people ask about how can they support Palo Santo and the community clinic, and they can do that through donating. There is the a donate button on our website that you can just go to through that. And then there's also we're always trying to seek out opportunities for local grants and scholarship information. And so if people have information that is quick and accessible that they want to funnel our way, that helps us, then we can access it because we're trying to do it like we're therapists who are trying to market and research grants and do this and that. So as if people have ideas, that's great. Send them our way. We also are accessible as we are collaborating with a couple different organizations around town. Pima Behavioral Health, Sunrise Mental Health, they're both psychiatry offices. And so people who are working with them, if they need therapy, they'll give them our name. We give our clients their information. Peppered Rose Ranch, we just started a partnership with Melissa Grunwald, who does equine experiential experiences. So some of her clients are finding out about us, some of ours are finding out about hers. We're going to be collaborating with the Pima Family Advocacy Center. And so clients who are working with them and accessing services through them will be able to access services through us. We're going to collaborate and share office space um, in the near future. And so that will make it really accessible to that clientele. Um, was
That's
that
great.
answering your question?
Oh
Am I
my
leaving
goodness.
anything else out
In
there?
so many ways. And I do want to say, first of all, I want to help give the shout out. You started with wellness, or excuse me, website. And so let's tell folks it's Palo Santo
Mhm.
wellness.org. So
Mhm.
that's where they
Mhm.
can find you. And
Mhm.
within there, it really is very easy to navigate. And I want to congratulate you on practicing what you preach, asking for help. So if folks have ways that they do want to collaborate or donate or somehow support you, I'm glad that you raised your hand and said
Mhm.
that your needs also are
Mhm.
important about giving
Mhm.
back. Carolyn,
Mhm.
this has just been such a wonderful discussion. I look forward to learning more and doing more with Palo Santo out in the community.
I couldn't agree with you more. Lorraine, thank you so much for the work you're doing in the community and the team at Palo Santo is doing. If you are interested in learning more about what you've heard today or about Compass Affordable Housing, we invite you to join us every week, Friday at 9 a.m. Our podcast drops through YouTube, or you can visit us online at www.compassaffordablehousing.org. Thank you to both my guests. I appreciate and thank you for viewing today.